And welcome to round 5 of Grand Prix Washington, D.C. I'm Ben Swartz, joined here in the booth by Marshall Sutcliffe. And we've got Owen Turtenwald facing off against Conley Woods for you guys. Both players 4-0 in this tournament.
You can take a look at our players there. They're household names in the world of Magic the Gathering, no doubt about that. Behind them,
that 22 by Owen's name means that he's currently 22nd in the top 25 Magic Pro rankings.
And it looks like we're way underway here. Thoughtseize and a Jin Gitaxias Core Augur.
Yeah, so Conley Woods.
He did it to himself.
Yeah, Thoughtseized himself.
I don't know.
Conley is on Reanimator, and Owen seems to be on the the blue-white-red Delver deck.
Yeah, Owen's been on this blue-white-red Delver deck for a while. It's a list that he has put some serious time in writing. Blue-white-red Delver for Owen Turtenwald, and he's going to Spell Pierce or Reanimate, which is going to get Force of Will. So we have a very early fight here.
Yeah, turn 2 Reanimate for Jin Gitaxias. Daze for Owen is going to say goodbye to that Reanimate for Conley. Set Owen back to no permanence, but it looks like Conley only has 1 card in hand.
That's right. Now, Owen has no pressure on the board, though, so Conley's going to get a chance to rebuild. He has a Ponder and a Force of Will in his hand, but just a basic Swamp Up.
And Stoneforge Mystic, man.
So that's, while not immediate pressure, it is a harbinger of things to come here for Conley Woods. And he's really trying to decide if he needs to Force of Will this. What he really wants to try to do is find a blue mana source and some cantrips and try to find another reanimation spell. But he says, I'm not going to have the time to do it, so I got to fire off this Force of Will right now. And Owen's actually considering countering back here. He's got a full grip.
Yeah, he's got a Force of Will of himself.
Yeah, Brainstorm and a Ponder as well. So there's a Brainstorm going to get pitched to Force of Will. And Stoneforge Mystic's going to resolve. And that's going to net Owen a Batterskull in hand here. And that is the clock. So Conley Woods is going to get 1 card per turn here. And he's got to find something to try to get Jin Gitaxias back as soon as possible here.
I mean, it's not the end of the world with that Batterskull, right?
No, it's not. It's a 4-turn-ish clock here, depending on if Owen has any other threats. He doesn't have any right now, but he does have a Lightning Bolt in hand, which could change the clock depending on what gets run. And
Animate Dead.
An Animate Dead for Conley Woods.
But another Force of Will right off the top for Owen.
Wow. Is this a land?
No, it's a Grizzlebrand.
It's a Grizzle land. All right, so there's Stoneforge Mystic. Its ability is going to be activated, and Batterskull is going to be put into play there.
Reduke Smug.
Yeah, Reduke token, one of Owen Turtenwald's best friends.
And Owen attacks in for 5, dropping Conley to 11.
And
no land, though, for Conley.
No land for Conley. And
he still's got some time, but with that Force of Will in Owen's hand, basically spells the end of the game, unless Conley peels land and then another Reanimate spell.
This is going to put him down to 6, but unfortunately for Conley,
Reanimate,
but it's too late. Jin Gitaxias costs 10, and way out of range there for Conley Woods here. Plus that Lightning Bolt in Owen Turtenwald's hand is going to finish off Conley Woods here.
Yeah, it costs 10 mana. Yeah, Lightning Bolt does it. And first game goes to Owen Turtenwald. Really quick game 1.
Yeah, Conley Woods decided that it was the time to go. He went for it, and he lost the counter battle. Owen was able to add a pressure to the board with the Stoneforge Mystic, followed by the Batterskull that it fetched up, and he's able to close out the game in quick fashion in that order.
I don't think that it was an awful move for Conley to move in like that.
Mm-hmm.
He had a piece of protection in the form of Force of Will, and he's not super terribly off, right, from recasting.
So he's basically just forcing Owen to have 2 counter spells there.
Yeah.
And if they're both Force of Wills, that's not bad either, right?
Yeah, getting 4 cards out of Owen's hand.
It's kind of
unlucky
his hand.
that Owen had the Daze in addition to the Force of Will, but...
So Owen is running a True Name Nemesis here, new card. I haven't seen it in Legacy a whole lot yet. It has been played so far, though. Let's take a look at Owen Turtenwald here, the 22nd ranked player on the top 25 pro rankings right now. He's a Platinum Pro.
from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
You can see his greatest achievement, Player of the Year in 2011. He's also got a Pro Tour top 8 under his belt with a pretty staggering 12 Grand Prix top 8. He got 7 of them in 1 year. So
that's the year 2011 that he won Player of the Year.
That's right. And interestingly, that year was not the year that he got his Pro Tour top 8 in either.
Yeah.
He really put together a ton of pro points, mainly off of Grand Prix victories. Grand Prix performances, I should say.
But as you saw, Conley is on the Reanimator deck this weekend. He's playing a little bit of an interesting list, got quite a few targets in his main deck. A couple of them normally are in the sideboard of the Reanimate deck, especially Tidespout Tyrant and Platinum Empyrean. But he's got them straight up in the main deck.
Yeah, another one that you don't see as often in the main is Elish Norn.
Yeah, that's...
And Jin-Gitaxias. I mean, he's got 3 Grizzlebrand, but then he's got these 4 other creatures that he can use to shut down certain deck types, right? I mean, he's able to entomb for Jin-Gitaxias, Elish Norn, Tidespout Tyrant, or Platinum Empyrean, depending on what he's playing against. His default is Grizzlebrand.
Yeah, and Elish Norn is likely coming in due to the popularity of Death and Taxes and decks like that in the main deck.
Yeah, that makes
it
a lot
really,
of
really
sense.
good, especially game 1, that you just have all these silver bullets against specific decks. Elish Norn also very good against the Elves deck.
So players are sideboarding here. I'm going to take a quick look at the sideboards here. Wow, Conley Woods. This is an interesting sideboard plan that he has here. I don't think that I have seen this particular tack before. It's 4 Delver of Secrets that he has in his sideboard, so he looks like he can go kind of transformative here, and he can do that. Also, he's got a Bloodghast in there as well. So this is I'm curious to see what he does. I obviously, this doesn't look like maybe the premier matchup that you'd want to go Delver mode.
Yeah, I think you'd just be a worse Delver deck in that instance. But, I mean, I don't know. Conley, you can never tell what's...
No, he is capable of anything. There's no doubt about that. And he's looks like he's made his decision, though, and he's going to shuffle up here.
Looking at Owen's sideboard, he's got a pair of Rest in Pieces and a Grafdigger's Cage that, unless he happens to know that Conley's got this transformational sideboard, seems like easy ins to his deck.
Yes.
Maybe taking out the True Name Nemesis. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, from what I understand of True Name Nemesis is that it truly excels in any type of creature-based mid-range type matchup. Anytime your opponent's going to be casting creatures and attempting to turn them sideways and kill you with them, you're generally very happy to have that. But against any type of combo or big stuff, Sneak and Show or Reanimator, I'm told that it's generally better to take out your True Name Nemesis, as it doesn't. It's just way too slow for Legacy in that context.
The fact that True Name Nemesis is seeing play also means that Umezawa's Jite is seeing more play. Just like this insane combo, right? You've got this 3/1 unblockable.
Yeah.
Could just gun down Delver of Secrets and Sectile Aberrations left and right.
And that is the thing about a card like True Name Nemesis in a deck like what Owen's running. I mean, he does need a certain number of threats. Like, he can't just pull out all of his creatures. He needs, especially being an equipment deck in a lot of ways, he needs things to carry it, right? So, he does have to be careful not to make his deck too threat light. All right, so Owen Turtenwald up a game here. Both players are sitting at 4-1. I believe Conley Woods is thinking, I see that he's got an Entomb and a Underground Sea in his opener there. That's a good start, yeah.
So maybe he did transform a little bit.
All right, here's the Thoughtseize, and who are we targeting? Targeting you. We do need clarification, and he says, sure. So he's not going to bother Force of Willing here. He just wants to make sure that Thoughtseize only takes 1 card out of Owen's hand. Plus, he's got 2 Stoneforge Mystic, so he's got a little bit of redundancy for his threat there. So we see Ponder, a Daze, a couple of lands, the Force of Will, and the double Stoneforge Mystic, and Conley Woods trying to decide what he wants to take away here.
Definitely going to be one of the blue cards. Which one, though?
That is the question.
But Owen depending on what happens here, will have a very similar opening to what he had last game. Play a quick Stoneforge Mystic, fetch up Batterskull if he needs to.
Right, he's going to take the hard counter. He knows that he's going to be able to play around Daze as the game goes forward. You know, because knowing that your opponent has it is absolutely critical, where even if you know your opponent has Force of Will, it's still just going to be a hard counter.
Yeah.
All right, and here's the Ponder for Owen Turtenwald.
Got Rest in Peace, a Brainstorm, and the card he chose to draw, which is a Daze.
Which is a second Daze. Doesn't really do a ton here just because Conley knows he has one and he's only got the one island in play anyway, so it doesn't add anything in the immediate future here. But it does give him extra protection in case he gets Thought Seized again. All right, Brainstorm in the main.
So Delver did come in for Conley.
Oh, he did bring it in.
But he still has Platinum Empyrean. So
okay.
He boarded those along with his Show and Tells. Or kept the 2 Show and Tells he's got main deck in. Give him a little more versatility against Graveyard Hate. We know that Owen brought in Rest in Peace and likely Grafdigger's Cage. Conley trying to shake things up a little bit, keep his opponent on his feet.
Well, Conley still deciding what to put back here. Looks like an Entomb, which he will be protecting, I assume? Or is he just going to get rid of it?
Oh, he's got another Entomb.
He's got another
right?
in hand. Okay, so he's probably just going to be getting rid of it then. Now, you got to figure that Conley's not worried about Stifle here, right? Generally a card that's associated with the Rug version of Delver and not the blue-white-red.
Yeah.
But here it is, Rest in Peace for Owen Turtenwald.
That makes that Entomb sitting in Conley's hand look really, just really stupid, I'd say.
It doesn't, it's not a happy Entomb, and the trigger does happen as well, and Conley cannot crack that polluted delta quickly enough. He knows that there's another Entomb that's going to be extra dead on top of his library, so he's going to get rid of that, go grab another Underground Sea here.
So he knows Owen has 1 Daze in his hand, doesn't know about the second one, so Conley's going to wait at least 1 turn to fire off that Show and Tell if he wanted to jam the Platinum Empyrean in play. But, I mean, if I were Conley, I'd take a little slower of a time. Owen doesn't have anything right now besides that Rest in Peace. He can afford to wait at least 1 turn.
And there's an Exhume off the top for Conley Woods, so kind of awkward.
Delver comes down. Plan B.
Yep. Let's see if he can make this work for him. I mean, I think the thinking on Conley Wood's side is that, it's clearly a great threat. He's going to transform it a large percentage of the time, and there's little chance that Owen left any creature-based removal, like lightning bolts aren't in anymore, right? Just Swords to Plowshares or the like?
Yeah, probably just Swords to Plowshares.
Yeah. So that means that there's not quite as much creature removal, and maybe he can get that Delver through. All right, he's going to go for a Brainstorm here. It's actually going to get dazed, though, because Conley did it on end step instead of on his upkeep or during, because theoretically he wants to try to get this Delver transformed, and that's what the Brainstorm would help set up. But it's going to get dazed here.
Gristlebrand comes out, or comes into Owen's hand.
Well, not Grizzlebrand.
Sorry, Batterskull. They're all the same.
Yeah, there's no difference between those 2 cards.
And Conley cannot untap quick enough. Looks with that Delver, does not seem like it's going to transform.
He's got a Show and Tell in his hand.
Well, does he think that the coast is clear?
I mean, he's got the Platinum Empyrean, and that would be a pretty big problem for Owen's deck outside of a Swords to Plowshares. He can't do much there.
Is Conley going to go for it? He doesn't know about the second Daze.
He's going for it.
I can't imagine Owen's not going to Daze here.
Yeah, he's just going to get dazed, and there it is. And Conley has his Show and Tell dazed. Owen Turtenwald still sitting with quite a few cards in hand, and Stoneforge Mystic on the battlefield with a Batterskull in hand as well. Owen carefully thinking about if he wants to crack this fetch land here.
Is there a real reason why he wants to do that? I don't really see of one, and Owen agrees.
Yep, and he's going to draw a Rest in Peace for the turn, play his land that he had brought back to his hand with Daze, and he's just going to pass the turn back. And there's a Brainstorm that's going to transform the Delver of Secrets into Insectile Aberration, make it a 3/2 flyer. So Conley has something going now. The problem is it's going to be facing down a batter skull soon, and that's not a fair race at all.
Yeah, I mean, I understand where Conley's going with the Delver secrets after sideboard. It gives you this added ability in your deck, but we all know how fair creatures fare against batter skull. Not very well.
Yep. So Conley fires off a ponder, but he's going to shuffle. So what is Conley going for? Is he trying to get a fatty in his hand along with like another show and tell and try to do it that way? Like what's his realistic way to actually win this game?
I mean, potentially he brought in Echoing Truth or Chain of Vapor. Cards like that to try to bounce the Rest in Peace and then quickly Entomb Exhume.
Okay.
But that's at least a couple turns out. He already shuffled away his second Entomb, and looks like he shuffled away his Exhume as well. So, yeah, just get another fatty and a show and tell. I mean, this Delver is not going to ride its way to victory.
That's right. So end step here, Owen Turtenwald is going to go grab a Volcanic Island, and I'm assuming he's going to activate that Stoneforge Mystic as well. And there it is, Batter Skull.
And blue and black are colors not well known for destroying artifacts.
No, they just can't.
Conley does have ways to destroy artifacts, but that's like Ashen Rider, I think, is the only way in his deck list. Yeah.
All right, so Ponder on the first main phase for Owen Turtenwald. He wants to take a look at what he has here. Looks like a Force, an Arid Mesa. What's that card in the middle?
Is that a Delver?
Can't quite see it. He's carefully thinking, though. Looks like he's going to go ahead and draw that Force of Will, though. And commence the beatdowns. 5 damage. And it's going to drop Conley Woods down to 12 and bump Owen back up to 20 life here. So this clearly isn't a race that Conley can win with his Insectile Aberration. He is going to have to do something bigger than this to get the job done here.
I mean, I really want to see Conley pull this game out, mainly because I want to see a game 3 between these two great players, but I can't imagine that happening in any realistic world. Spell Pierce, it's not a really good answer to that sort of Feast and Famine. A little late. It's really that second daze.
Yes.
Paired with the Rest in Peace that.
I mean, Conley's been bold. He's been going for it.
Yeah. I mean, Conley's holding on. I mean, he's not.
Jeez, and a Spell Pierce here for Owen Turtenwald. It feels like he's pretty close to having this game just locked up. He's going to attack with his Batter Skull.
No, he can't. He can't put in the sword and equip it.
He's going to just play patiently. Is that an Entomb for Conley Woods?
Yep.
So another dead card here. Land go. And again, like you mentioned a second ago, Ben, Owen's just playing the patient game here. No reason to get out of line. He's got the game pretty well in hand. Especially if he knew what Conley had in his hand, which is kind of just a bunch of nothing.
I mean, Owen does have to make a decision here whether or not he wants to equip his sword and leave himself with only 1 mana up. He's going to brainstorm first, but he's got to be thinking, what could possibly happen for me to lose this game? Like, what combination of cards could Conley have that I would lose what seems to be a seemingly unlosable situation?
That's right.
Well, he drew a Force of Will and a Pyroblast.
He's going to attack with all 3 creatures, so 1 Stoneforge is going to get blocked and die, but you're going to take 5 down to 3. And he's going to pass the turn, so no Lightning Bolt there.
I mean, that puts Conley dead on board for the following turn if Owen equips the Sword of Feast and Famine to the Stoneforge.
That's right.
Entomb I don't know if Conley understands how Rest in Peace works.
He does. You know he does. He's probably just trying to get something out of his deck that he doesn't want to draw.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying you're happy about it.
Yeah. Take any edge you can get.
I mean,
which one of these cards do I not want to draw?
Yeah.
Just add a tiny modicum of.
Yeah, it's a land, so he's just look, smallest possible edge. He's also taking a quick thumb through there to see if there's actually anything that he can draw here.
He can draw a show and tell and hope that it resolves so he can put the Platinum Imperium in play.
Okay. So there you go.
But we know that Owen's got to force a will.
And he also has Spell Pierce.
Yeah. I mean, Conley has a Spell Pierce of his own, but pretty sure that's. I mean, Owen also has the Pyroblast. Yeah,
he draws Careful Study. Sure.
Owen just has this gigantic grin on his face, I bet. Yep, I've seen this story before.
Yep, a couple of lands off the top, and that's going to do it. Owen Turtenwald 2-0 over Conley Woods in the 5th round of Grand Prix Washington, D.C.
So even though Conley had that transformative sideboard into Delvers to try to give him a little extra punch against the graveyard, hey, Owen just calmly, casually put Rest into Peace into play, backed that up with Stoneforge Mystic and counterspells, and just took Conley out.
Yep.
It's one of those things, just see how powerful these Delver decks are. They just disrupt one small thing and then ride, one little creature to victory.
Yeah, Owen's been playing this deck quite a bit. He's been developing it quite a bit as well. He's been writing articles and such about it, and he's definitely an expert with this blue-white-red Delver deck. It's really a deck that he feels strongly is incredibly powerful in the format, and I would definitely keep my eye on the 22nd ranked player on our top 25 pro rankings, Owen Turtenwald, throughout the course of this particular weekend. Let's jump over to our other table. Right-hand side, you may recognize him. That's Chris Pikula. He was doing a little bit of commentary a couple weekends ago at the Vintage and Legacy Championships. That was a treat. And he's playing now, though, and he's playing, well, look, it's my favorite deck here. There's a Nimble Mongoose on the table, so that can only mean one thing. It's Rug Delver.
Yeah, no surprise from Pakula. He's been talking about this deck, playing this deck in tournaments pretty much nonstop. He actually entered this tournament with 0 buys.
Oh, really?
So.
Really?
Yes.
Even after his strong performance at the PT, that surprises me.
At least that's what it said on Twitter. Unless he was like slow rolling his buys by posting 1-0, 2-0 every round. I mean,
that is
he doesn't seem like the type to do that.
I don't think so. Let's take a look at what Ben Friedman's playing here.
I think he's on Esper Stoneblade.
Okay.
Would be my guess, but maybe blue, white, red Delver. Yeah, I see the.
Oh, there's a True Name Nemesis up there as well. It's exiled.
There's lightning bolts in Ben's hand, so.
Okay.
Blue, white, red Delver.
So
same deck Owen was playing. Yeah, True Name Nemesis up there. Really important card this weekend.
Wow, there's 3 lightning bolts in Ben's hand.
I wonder what Pikula's at. What you at? 9?
I am curious.
1 second.
Yeah, I mean he has no.
Take out my calculator.
I mean, he has no red sources, and I don't know if Pikula's maybe burned some wastelands, making sure that Ben Friedman's not on red here. But here's a brainstorm, and that's absolutely. It's absolutely possible that he finds a red source. He finds his 4th bolt and no mana at all, though.
It's just
they call that being brainstorm locked here in Legacy, where he doesn't have a way to shuffle away the things he doesn't need, so he just has to miserably. It's sort of just a harbinger of bad news, right? It's like, oh, great.
Yeah, he's got another brainstorm in hand, so he can.
Oh, okay.
Look at one
so
more
he can
card,
dig a little bit deeper,
but just barely. Yeah, I mean, those Nimble Mongoose. Even though they're just 1/1s, thanks to the.
Oh, here's a shuffle effect here. Good. I forgot about Stoneforge Mystic. That was my fault. The question is, does it resolve?
Stifle the trigger, says Pakula. Ben's got nothing.
Wow, and that is huge because not only are the Nimble Mongoose still able to freely attack, but on top of it, no shuffle, and of course no equipment either. But, you know, the shuffle was pretty important there, too.
The monkeys are 1/1, so likely they don't want to attack.
Oh, of course.
Into the
Gosh, I forgot about the
rest in peace.
The rest in peace, yeah, yep. All right, well, now it looks like they are going to be able to attack.
The back and forth, 2 damage, puts you at 11.
Yeah, and there's another Nimble Mongoose. Yeah, Rest in Peace is very good against Rug Delver. It basically makes Nimble Mongoose not very good, and it makes Tarmogoyf not very good as well. All right, so here's Brainstorm from Ben Friedman, and there it is. Just in the nick of time, he hits that land, so he can actually get something going here. He is pretty far behind, but he's at 11 life still, facing down 3 1/1s. He just needs a creature to stick.
Yeah. That Stifle was huge.
It really was.
There's another one in Pikula's hand. He's going almost definitely use it here on the Scalding Tarn.
He could not wait to fire off that Stifle. Stifle's a card that can be very mediocre, but if you're patient and can use it at the right time, it can be absolutely nasty like we see here. Those last 2 Stifles have really put a crimp on Ben Friedman's game plan here as he's stuck with a bunch of uncastable spells in his hand, and he's facing down an army of 1/1s that are looking to do quick work to his life total. And there's a miserable draw for Chris Pakula.
If Ben really wanted that Scalding Tarn to resolve,
yes,
I think he could have, right? He could have dazed, then Pakula paid, and then wastelanded his fetch land, and in response to the fetch, dazed again, right?
I mean, Pakula had two mana.
No, it was the Volcanic Island and the polluted Delta that was
okay, sure.
I mean, that's like kind of crazy to do that,
but he is going to lose this game pretty quickly if he doesn't find some way to put a presence on the board. And here comes Wasteland on a Tundra. This is what the Rug Delver deck does. Chris Pakula already up 1 game over Ben Friedman here.
Threshold? Who needs Threshold?
Yeah.
My Mongoose is fine as 1/1s. We'll slowly, you know.
I love that card.
Take bites out of your life total.
All right, there's the known Lightning Bolt for Ben Friedman, and he can do nothing other than just say go. Attack for 3. That's going to drop you down to 4. And interestingly, Chris Pakula has a Lightning Bolt in hand, so this ought to do it here.
Yep.
Put you to 1, bolt you. And that's going to do it. He had all 4 Lightning Bolts in hand, and Chris Pakula is going to advance to 5-0 here with his Rug Delver deck. You know, we talked about the sideboard plans that some of these decks have and how there's some kind of silver bullet type cards, and really, Rest in